Yes, I'm even uglier than I was before, but I'm also not as hot. Jason Bourne is the newest installment in the Bourne franchise. I like the original trilogy. I like Matt Damon. I thought the original trilogy was pretty good. The Bourne Legacy that came out with Jeremy Renner, I didn't like as much. Maybe because it didn't have Matt Damon in it. I don't know. Uh, Matt Damon's back along with Julia Stiles, and they also added Tommy Lee Jones, who's one of my favorite actors. The performances in this movie were good. The fight sequences were good. Uh, I have a few things I want to nitpick about this movie, however. Uh, in the original trilogy, one of the things I like about the films is that they make sense, and there's nothing that Bourne does that isn't, human. That he isn't like a superhero, jumping like 50 feet and surviving, stuff like that. Uh, in this film, I'll just give some details. I won't give any spoilers or anything. Julia Stiles finds out some information about Bourne, and she finds him, and she wants to give him the information. Now, she finds him and leaves a note by his things, and as soon as she did that, I was thinking, why couldn't she just tell him what she needed to tell him there? Because there was no cameras around. It was in a remote location where he was fighting a guy. And I was thinking, I have the feeling that's not going to make a whole lot of sense. And sure enough, I was right. They meet somewhere, and there's cameras in different places, and it's in public with thousands of people. And I just didn't like that part. And the place they end up meeting ends up becoming like a giant riot, like almost a war zone. And the ending of that scene was pretty predictable, I thought. I won't tell what happens. Later on in the film, you've probably seen the trailer where, two vehicles are going down the street at high speeds. One of them is a big SWAT armored truck, okay? And it's hitting cars, and they're flying through the air all over the place, like 10, 15 feet in the air. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. No matter how big that truck is, it's not going to send cars flying through the air. I mean, later on, it's hitting cars and they're just spinning around. That I buy. I can see that happen. But cars just, it just doesn't make any sense. And then towards the end of the film, Bourne, is chasing a guy who's just like him. He's an asset, they call him. And he ends up getting shot, and then he's running full speed after this guy. Now, I've never been shot, but I can't imagine that after you get shot, you can run full speed at somebody, but maybe it's possible. I don't know. But there's some things I like about the film, and like I said, some things that just didn't make any sense. But overall, I give Jason Bourne 3 slow claps. I didn't like it as much as the original trilogy, but at least Matt Damon was back, and some of the scenes were really cool. If you've seen it, let me know what you think about it. Talk to me below, comment, whatever. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.